Hey guys, what's up? It's Dean. Welcome to Manful Yoga. It is Monday, October 15th, but if you're not watching this live, don't worry, you're still going to get a ton out of this video. And this video so what I want to talk about here is how should athletes be practicing yoga? Not whether or not athletes should be practicing yoga or anything else, but how athletes should be practicing yoga. Because when I say yoga, or when anybody says yoga, when you say yoga, when your instructor says yoga, when the people you're talking with talk about yoga, it's really easy to be talking about tons of different kind of things because there's so many different types and so many different ways to practice yoga. People can practice yoga for spiritual reasons. They practice it as stress management. They can practice it as only a fitness-focused workout, or they can practice it as a combination of all three, which is what it's usually practiced as. But if you are an athlete and your goal is to use yoga to improve your performance for whatever sport it is that you do, so basically you're using yoga to get better at the activities or the physical fitness things that you already do, then the best use of your time is going to be spent on a type of yoga that focuses or that complements what you are already doing with your training. So before I get going too much further, I want to talk about what I would consider an athlete. And basically, I would consider anybody who works out to get better at a particular discipline as an athlete. So that could be someone who is an endurance athlete. So maybe you're a cyclist or a runner, triathlete. Maybe you are a rock climber. Maybe you are a team sports athlete, so you play soccer, basketball, baseball, football, hockey, lacrosse, that kind of thing. That's how I started doing yoga. I was a lacrosse player. Maybe you play tennis. Maybe you are a weightlifter. Maybe you lift weights. Maybe you do CrossFit. You do some sort of functional fitness. Maybe you like going to boot camp workouts. So if you fill in any of those, if any of those that I just mentioned applies to you, then I would consider you an athlete because you are looking to yoga to get better at what you're already doing, or you're doing workouts in general to get better at something. And that could just include wanting to get in better shape or training to look or be as strong as you possibly can. And those are all perfectly valid reasons for working out, but that's who I would consider an athlete. Now, when it comes to athletes tend to be really strong at certain things. So I'll talk about what you guys are already, most athletes are good at. Most athletes have sport-specific or specific strength, meaning they're pretty good or excellent or good at what they already do. They have strength to accomplish the task that they need to in their given sport. If you're a weightlifter, you have a lot of strength to move a lot of weight. Maybe not a lot of weight, but hopefully a lot of weight. If you're a soccer player, that means that you have a lot of leg strength and you have a lot of endurance. If you are a runner, that means you have a lot of lower body strength and core strength, and again, endurance. So most athletes are already training their strength, they're already training their endurance. So that's one thing that you're not going to need from yoga because you're already getting that from your other workouts. Most athletes are also already doing some sort of fast twitch muscle or some sort of quick movement, right? So you're already doing, if you're an athlete in terms of a team sport, you're already doing quick side-to-side movements or box jumps, or when you play your sport, you're moving as fast as you possibly can. Right? So speed is something that you're also good at. Your speed and your agility are probably pretty good, or at least you're already practicing or working on those in your other workouts. Overall, you probably have a medium to high level of motivation to do your workouts. So you're doing your workouts already, you're doing them on a regular basis. Maybe you don't do all of your workouts, maybe you skip some workouts, but for the most part, you are completing your workouts, you're getting them done, you're going to your workout classes or you're doing the workouts on your own and you're getting them done because it's something that's important to you. It's something that you have discipline for, and it's something that you want to do. It's important to you. You want to get better at it, so you make time for it. So you're disciplined. You're probably medium to high motivated. Some other characteristics: you are, again, working on strength, working endurance. You probably have discipline. You have a pretty good level of motivation, and you're probably fitness oriented. So realistically, this is something that you would do even if you weren't getting the body from it, or you weren't. It's just you're doing something because it's something that you enjoy doing. So you're working out or you're training in your whatever sport it is because you like doing it. It makes you happy. But some things that athletes are not typically doing, and this is not for all athletes, but this is for typical athletes. So typical athletes don't focus a lot on their flexibility and their mobility. Most athletes prefer to do either sport-specific training, they prefer to do strength training, they prefer to do quick movements. They're dopamine based, right? So we like to do things quickly, we like to do things intense, and we don't like to do slow moving things because it's just not fun. And that includes our flexibility and our mobility. So we don't stretch a lot. But we don't, and that's just one very limited part of mobility. And then we don't work on our mobility itself, and that involves more of our active range of motion. So that includes things like working on our active range of motion in our shoulders, so being able to reach our arms further back overhead, on twisting deeper with our spine, or being able to sit down deeper into a squat, right? So those are more active forms of mobility that will help you get better at your sport that you do, or whatever physical discipline you're involved in, but that athletes don't do too much of. Some other things include balance. So you might not work that much on balance. Most athletes don't spend a lot of time standing on one leg and practicing balance for minutes at a time. It's just something that they may either have or they don't have. They probably, even without realizing it, you do practice balance when you're playing your sport, changing directions, having coordination, but as far as something that you actually practice on a regular basis and just focus on that balance aspect, is probably not something that you're doing a lot of. And then some other aspects of things that you're not working on are probably your body awareness. So you don't practicing deepening that connection between your mind and your body. That also can include muscle activation. That can include coordination. So really slow, controlled movements, and just developing more awareness and more control over your body. And you also probably don't work a lot on breath, which is really important because the better you can breathe, the more efficient you can breathe, the more you can control your body. So the longer you can last through the workouts that you're doing, the longer you can last through whatever performance or whatever sport or game or practice you're working through, you will be better at that if you can breathe more efficiently. So those are some things that athletes tend to not do as much, and that's where yoga can really help out. But the thing is that if you aren't doing yoga that's specifically focused on athletes, then you're being inefficient, right? So I'm not saying that yoga isn't good for athletes. All yoga isn't good for athletes. It's just that not all yoga is efficient as possible for athletes, right? So you're still getting some benefit by practicing yoga, but if you're going to spend an hour of your time, if you're going to take off an hour from what your other workouts, then if it were me, and this is how I approach yoga, I would want to spend an hour doing a yoga workout that best complements what I'm already doing and that makes me better at what I enjoy doing. I don't want to spend an hour doing yoga if it only semi-helps or is ineffective in terms of addressing my particular goals. So what makes a yoga workout more effective is if it focuses on those things that I mentioned, right? So if it focuses more on the mobility, the balance, and then one other aspect I forgot to mention is also the restorative aspect. So taking the time to do relaxed, long, passive stretches so that your muscles can recover and you can release tension in your muscles, you can recover more quickly, you can improve your sleep, which means that you're also going to get stronger and recover more quickly. So those are aspects that I would focus on when it comes to practicing yoga if you are an athlete. And again, that's going to help with your goals of getting better at what you enjoy doing. Some specific things that you'll develop. That improved mobility is going to help with more active range of motion. Here's another difference though. You want to focus on active range of motion and active mobility, not just passive mobility. So really simply explained, the difference between passive mobility and active mobility. Active mobility, or let's say passive mobility. Passive mobility is me grabbing my foot like this and then lifting my leg up as much as I can. Yes, I'm stretching my hamstrings when I'm doing this, but I'm not doing so actively. I'm using my hand and I'm passively stretching. Active mobility, on the other hand, would be lifting my leg up as much as I can, like this, without the assistance of my arm. And only one of those really translates into sports performance, and that's active mobility. So you want to be doing yoga in a way that focuses on active mobility. Problem is most yoga doesn't focus on that. Most yoga focuses on passive range of motion. And the best performance gains are going to be had when you're doing active range of motion. Balancing postures. So you want to work on balance. You want to work at improving your ability to stand on one leg. And that's both a skill and a strength. So improving your balance is going to not only make you more injury resistant and also help with unexpected situations on the field or whatever it is you're doing, but it also helps develop more strength. So it makes your muscles stronger in different ways. It helps to work the more auxiliary muscles that people tend to not do as much. So in your lower body, that refers to, your VMOs, your vastus medialis, which is a muscle that helps with strengthening your knee. It's not a main muscle, but it is a minor and it's an important muscle. And if you don't have that, focus to connect mind and body and develop that specific strength with things like balance or things like active mobility or just slowing things down and focusing on that specific muscle, then that muscle is going to be left out, and it means that your knee is at a higher risk for injury. Could also be your glute medius, so your glute medius. When you don't have strong when your glute medius aren't strong, that means that your lower back is at risk for more pain. Your squats aren't going to be as good. You're not going to have as much power in your lower body. So there's things like this that are just going to inhibit your performance if you're not strengthening those auxiliary muscles. And that's one thing that yoga and balancing exercises in general helps to do. And then I talked about breathing already. We talked about restorative. So those are also, focusing on that is also going to help you. And again, the problem is that you're just not going to get all of that from a yoga workout, from a typical yoga workout, which is really why I created Manful Yoga, so that I could, as an athlete, I played college, and I even played at the world level for lacrosse. I played for Team Turkey through 2014, and then I got injured because I wasn't focusing enough on some of the stuff that I'm talking to you now about. And I stopped playing, but I still play now, and I would consider myself way stronger than I was when I was playing in college. And I'm at a much lower risk of injury because I've done things to address all these weaknesses that I have, that as a typical athlete, all of these weaknesses that I had when I was playing in college. And if I had been exposed to a more fitness-centric or more athlete-focused type of yoga, then I can't say for sure, but I can say with a lot of confidence that I wouldn't have had as many injuries. I may not have had 0 injuries, but I would definitely have had fewer injuries if I had been doing this training and if I had started younger. So anyways, So my point is, if you're an athlete and you're looking for a yoga to get stronger, not all yoga is going to work for you. So what I developed with Manful Yoga is called, and this is, I'm just introducing this, but they're called paths, P-A-T-H. And this is a specific, not just one workout program, but a series of workout programs for you to follow. So as an athlete, you can join my website, you can follow the Yoga for Athletes path, and you can have a clear idea of not just the workouts and the programs you're supposed to follow, but also you'll have an idea of the results you can expect. So 1 month in and 3 months in. And I kind of listed those for you. I can't remember them off the top of my head, so I'm going to have to read them out for you. But after 1 month of Manful Yoga, you can expect to be stronger in new ways. So you're going to improve your muscle activation. You're going to work on those auxiliary muscles that we just talked about. You're going to have noticeable increases in your flexibility and mobility. So you're going to have more range of motion. You'll have more active range of motion, also more passive range of motion, which means less joint pain. It means more resistant to injury. And it means that your movements are going to feel better as well. So they'll feel more fluid. You're going to have noticeable improvements in your other activities. So that means that it's going to be easier for you to accomplish the same tasks. You're going to be better at weightlifting. You're going to be better at whatever sport you're doing. So your other, whatever you do, is also just going to feel way better. Just more strength, more mobility, that's what happens. More body awareness, so you'll have improved posture. You'll have increased attention to your posture, which is important for keeping your shoulders and your core healthy, and your spine. And you're also going to have just improvements in your overall physical feeling. You're going to feel better on a daily basis. You're going to feel better when you're exercising. You'll have less discomfort or less pain the day after you work out, because you're addressing these weaknesses that cause all of these negative things that are happening in your body. But again, that's only if you work on that's not with all yoga. You have to do a specific yoga. You have to do a fitness-centric, athlete-focused type of yoga, and that's what I offer, and that's what I do with Manful Yoga. So if you want to learn more about this, I've got a bunch of success stories on my website, and I've got a bunch more information than I just gave you, and a lot easier to read. Check out the blog that I just put out on manfulyoga.com. It's manfulyoga.com/blog/yoga-for-athletes, and you're going to see all the ways that yoga, fitness-centric yoga, and specifically Manful Yoga can help you become a better athlete, a stronger, more capable athlete in whatever your physical discipline is. So thanks for joining me live if you could, and even if you're not watching live, I hope you got something out of this. And again, check out that blog. It's got a ton more information than I just gave you. We're also going to be putting this video that you're watching now on the blog as well. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this little presentation. And if you're watching this live, again, or if you're on social media now and it's the week of October 15th, come back at 12 p.m. Tomorrow and every day this week, and I'm going to be talking about the other types of paths that Manful Yoga works with. So the different types of people that Manful Yoga works with, and how we help you get better at what you already are doing. So not just general yoga, not a one-size-fits-all approach, but yoga to specifically help your goals. So that's what I try to do here. So guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.